It's a shame that this is the wrong hand for filming, but it's okay. We'll deal with it. We'll deal with it. Right, let's do this. This is Alderney, the 3 by 1.5 mile island that my parents call home. It's Christmas time and we've already started having arguments about me leaving the lights on. So a couple of nights ago I was in the Indian restaurant and I bumped into the very man who runs the island's power centre. His name is James Lancaster and he's invited me down to Alderney Electricity to go and see how our energy is created. I live in London most of the year and so I'm used to leaving my light on pretty much always. I'm just afraid of the dark. Now, over the years on Alderney, there's been much talk about wind, tide and solar energy, and alas, nothing yet has come to fruition. Now, with the pressure of the war in Ukraine, I feel like this energy crisis might give us the wake-up call we need. After all, how long can we really go on burning fossil fuels before we realise that it's just not that environmentally friendly? Hopefully, James has some answers for me because I just don't know if I'll ever stop forgetting to turn the light off. Introduce yourself. What's your name?
My name's James Lancaster. I'm Managing Director of Alderney Electricity, and here we are at the power station. So I want to just take you around and show you the works that we've been doing, rebuilding the power station, modernising it, and getting all the kit ready for renewable energy, all the things that we need to do going forward. You can see one of the many quarries that we have on the island is just here. Historically, we have used the water from this quarry for cooling the engines in the power station. But with the new engines, I mean, they're like big truck engines really, so they've got all sort of fans and their own internal cooling system. So we don't need this anymore. Back in the early 50s, they drained the quarry to take a load of the stuff out, and there were old tanks in there and all sorts of things in there. There is a plan to recover some of the artefacts in here and publishing that because it's an important part of the history of the island. This is the island's tank farm. When fuel is brought to the island, we get a bulk ship that comes into the harbour, and then there's a pipeline from the pierhead at the harbour that runs all the way up here to the tank farm. So we just pump the fuel straight up into there.
Really silly question.
But
how exactly do you turn fuel into electricity?
What we have inside the engine are a series of diesel engines, exactly the same, except bigger than the diesel engine that you would have in a diesel car. Instead of driving the wheels of your car, it drives a generator, which is like an electric motor, but working in reverse, and then you spin that electric motor and it produces power. And so it's as simple as that.
Science.
Yeah. So I've got Cameron following me around. Cameron's filming everything, okay? So this is our fly-on-the-wall documentary.
The secret life of the power station.
Good job I had my hair done yesterday.
At this moment in time, the island is consuming just over 900 kilowatts. So that's typical for this time of the afternoon, really. Immediately, we've got two old Blackstone diesel engines. These were installed in the early 1970s and were serviceable until 2 or 3 years ago when we first switched on the new engines at the back of the power station. So here we are, it's quiet again. We've got sound isolation booths around these large Paxton engines because they were so noisy that we had to isolate them to keep the sound levels down. So there's a story to tell here. This is a story I can tell now, which I couldn't previously. We knew we were facing a point where in 2020, 2021, 2022, we would have to unship each of these three large generators and send them back to the UK to have the bottom end service. We thought we had another 6 or 7 years before these needed servicing. We got to 2019 and they started failing. Everybody ran around. I was in here doing night shifts trying to keep this thing going and the guys were building. We just brought 4 of the engines online to give us that reserve. So for a period of about 6 weeks before Christmas 2019, we were all a little bit nervous and getting sleepless nights, thinking, crikey, if we lose this one, we are up the proverbial creek without the proverbial paddle. I'll put these on, here you go.
All right.
You look like an airline pilot now.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is your pilot speaking. We'll be flying at 41,000 feet.
So if I press, you should be able to hear me now.
I can hear you properly. This is amazing.
Fantastic, there we go.
Okay, so basically from this point on, I had no idea what James was saying. I think he was trying to tell me that this knob changes the speed of the engines, but I'm not really sure. But what I did realise is his passion for energy. It's not just about replacing the old equipment with the new, but he has a serious love for this island, which makes me grateful that him and his team are here to keep our lights on in the future. I still don't really know how energy is made, but that's okay, because I've really enjoyed this tour and at least I now know that we're in safe hands. You were rubbing against the tidal button. Are you telling me that this power station is ready for tidal energy?
No, it's not. They decided to sort of jump the gun, I suppose, and put cable in with the intention that when tidal power came, we would then be able to connect to that cable and bring the power in here.
Just quickly, are these all electric vehicles?
Yeah, so all the small white vans that you can see are now EVs, electric vehicles. They cost more than the equivalent diesel version. And actually, if you think about it, we're still burning diesel to power these cars. The point is that diesel power station runs at an efficiency of 40%. So you use much more diesel driving diesel cars around than you do EVs because the power station is a more efficient way of producing power. Everybody benefits. This is one of our last blue Alderney Electric vans.
It's my last one. We love the new vans. They're brilliant. Everyone should be using electric. It's as simple as that.
That was amazing tour of the power station. What is the future of renewable energy going to look like on Alderney, potentially? Because we all know that it takes a while.
Opinion of a lot of people on the island is that we're really saying nothing's been going on. But the reality is we've rebuilt the power station to make us renewables ready. We've come over here to the Glacier, which is where everybody knows as the recycling centre, just to have a look at this. What we've got here is a south-facing slope about the size of half a football pitch, so actually perfect for a solar array. It means that on a sunny day that would be delivering probably 2/3 of the island's electricity requirement.
From that simple field alone.
It's great, isn't it?
So this could literally be where Alderney's future solar farm?
Solar farm?
A solar farm could be on Alderney, the biggest in the Channel Islands, at this spot on the island that I don't think anyone really ever has been to.
With renewables like solar, there is some maintenance cost, but most of the cost is in the cost of installing it in the first place. Over the lifetime of a solar array, with a ground-mounted solar array, we should be able to get down to about 10 pence per kilowatt hour.
So half the price?
Under half the price.
My mum's always telling me that electricity costs too much over here for me to keep my light on.
Yeah.
Are you telling me that if we brought renewable energy to this island, I could finally keep my light on?
Yeah, of course you can.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. There you go, guys. That is a tour of Alderney Electricity. Thank you to James and all of his team. And yeah, there's a lot to consider in the future. Certainly by the time I'm James's age, I hope to keep my lights on all the time.